The hour of 7 o'clock having been passed, I wish to thank those who are in attendance tonight. The hour of 7 p.m. arrived. We'll call the meeting to order of the City Council. This meeting is being broadcast live on the City of Keene YouTube channel and the Spectrum Channel 1302. The video is also streamed on the city's website and is posted by the end of the next business day, barring any technical difficulties. If you'd like to receive an electronic City Council packet to reference while viewing future broadcasts, please contact the City Clerk's office during business hours or go to the city's website and subscribe to the City Meetings email list. The agenda is also accessible from any mobile device. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Kate M. Bosley.
Here.
Laura E. Tobin.
Here.
Michael J. Remy. Randy L. Filio.
Here.
Robert C. Williams.
Here.
Edward J. Haas.
Here.
Philip M. Jones.
Here.
Andrew M. Madison. Chris E. Roberts.
Here.
Jacob R. Favalise.
Here.
Brian J. Lake.
Here.
Catherine I. Workman. Bettina A. Chadbourne.
Here.
Thomas F. Powers.
Here.
Mitchell H. Greenwald.
Here.
I'd like to ask Councilor Williams, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to recognize Councilor Greenwald for a motion to adopt the minutes of our June 19th meeting.
Move to adopt the minutes of the June 19, 2025 meeting as presented.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Bosley. Are there any comments or corrections on the June 19th minutes? Councilor Haas.
Thank you, Your Honor. I was looking on page 24. If you look at the top of that, it talks about a roll call vote about Resolution R 2025 12B, but we don't get who voted how on there, unless I missed it in reading the minutes. Please tell me that I'm wrong, and or can we render corrections?
Actually, Counselor Favalise showed us that that error was in the minutes earlier, and we reproduced the packet, so it's probably been fixed since you printed your page.
in there.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, anything else on the minutes? Thank you, Councilor Favalise. Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries unanimously, 13-0. At this moment, I'm going to hit announcements. For starters, a reminder that this next week, unless otherwise noticed, the Municipal Services Committee and the Finance Operations Personnel Committees have meetings scheduled. They'll be held as usual. Following that, though, the council will be going on break. The meetings that are canceled while we are on break are the August 7th City Council meeting and the August 13th PLD meeting and the August 14th FOP meetings. Those will both be canceled, and the council will resume its regular schedule on August 21st. So schedule your time well. Councilor
Did you
Greenwald.
say MSFI is meeting on the 23rd?
On the, this next week.
Maybe.
If that's why I say pending,
Leave that as a maybe.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Understood that there aren't many items for that agenda, but we'll let you and the city manager
Gotcha. Thank you.
discuss that further. And expect to hear by Monday if that meeting is not occurring. Okay, some other announcements, municipal elections. Believe it or not, the filing period for municipal elections will open on Wednesday, August 20th. So this is our opportunity to announce that to the public. People can begin filing at 8 a.m. on August 20th and continue filing through Tuesday, September 9th at 4 p.m. The city clerk will be accepting declarations of candidacy for the offices of mayor, counselor at large, ward councilors, that will be included on the municipal primary ballot on October 7th. Candidates for mayor and city council will receive a copy of the statement of special interests when they file for office to notify them of any pending obligations should they be elected, per council rules. Now I want to cover election officials. Filings for election officials that include in each ward a supervisor, moderator, selectman, and clerk. Those will be accepted, those nominations will be accepted during the same time frame, with those candidates' names being added directly to the municipal general election ballot on November 4th. So you may recall the charter amendment that was approved in the 2023 elections that limited the primary to mayoral and council candidates. So I encourage anybody who wishes to serve their community in these important election official roles to sign up during this election filing period. The clerk has distributed a memo to councilors' desks that lists names of all offices that are up for re-election this year and the names of the incumbents. So over the next few weeks, the city clerk's office will be sharing information with the public as to which city wards have potential vacancies in election officials and the opportunities for the public to step up and serve the clerk and the city in these important roles. So questions regarding serving in election role positions, please direct those to the city clerk's office. I'd like to remind us of the City of Keens Community Night. It's going to be held on August 19th from 4 until 7 p.m. At 400 Marlborough Street at the Public Works site. So please join city staff and many of us here. Please join for this family-friendly event. City employees will be there to talk about the services they provide. And most city departments will have a booth or table and equipment displayed explaining what they do. There'll be goodies to be served and activities for children. The cookout includes burgers and hot dogs and ice cream. So please join city staff in Community Night on August 19th. There'll be excavators, police cruisers, fire trucks, all on display and for kids to explore. And finally, given the emergency response that was necessary this past week, I want to personally, and I think on behalf of all councilors, want to thank our city staff, our Department of Public Works. Their quick response to the water main break and repair were really laudable. I think the community's response was equally laudable. I think there was a lot of support for city staff being out there and getting on top of this problem as quickly as they did. Thanks to the city manager and your deputy manager for all the communications that you pushed out to the public during that time. And thanks to C&S Wholesale Grocers for their response in providing cases of water to the public. That was a very generous donation. It'll come up again later this evening. But I think that their response just was a wonderful act of community responsiveness and community service. So thank you, C&S Wholesale Grocers, and thank you to the department of our police department for helping distribute those cases at the Public Works building. So, good response. Thank you, CNSers. Okay, I think that that covers announcements, with one exception. Tonight, we have 2 birthdays in July to celebrate. One is this evening, and Counselor Remy, like to congratulate you. Another birthday, wishing you another good year. Tonight is your birthday. Yeah. And while we're throwing a party for Counselor Remy with this meeting, Ed, I don't think we can do that for you next week, but we'll all send you our best wishes on July 22nd. Happy birthday to you, Ed. Okay, now I'd like to ask our Director of Parks and Recreation to come forward. I hope everyone knows that in July, it is Parks and Recreation Month, as declared nationally, so we are stepping up with other communities that recognize this, and the theme of this year's month is Build Together, Play Together. You'll see some of that come through in this resolution. So on behalf of the City Council, I offer this proclamation, whereas parks and recreation are essential to the quality of life in communities across the nation, including the City of Keene, and whereas parks and recreation promote wellness and active lifestyles, improving the physical and mental health of residents of all ages, and that together we are building thriving communities centered on health and well-being. And whereas access to parks and time in nature enhance cognitive performance and overall well-being, so that together we help play, grow, and connect with each other and with nature. And whereas recreation programs such as summer camps, after-school care, youth sports, and environmental education are vital to childhood development and lifelong learning, so that together we are creating high-quality programs and welcoming spaces. And whereas Parks and Recreation contribute to environmental resilience, serving as adaptable infrastructure that helps communities respond to climate change and natural disasters, so that together we are building sustainable parks and green spaces for current and future generations. And whereas Parks and Recreation strengthen local economies by boosting property values, supporting tourism, and helping to attract and retain businesses. And whereas the United States House of Representatives has designated July as Park and Recreation Month, and whereas the City of Keene recognizes the broad benefits that parks, trails, open spaces, and recreation programs bring to individuals and the community as a whole. Now therefore, I, as Mayor of the City of Keene, do hereby proclaim July as Parks and Recreation Month in the City of Keene, and let us honor this month by recognizing the vital role that Parks and Recreation play in building vibrant, healthy, and connected communities. This year, the Build Together, Play Together celebration is a dedication to our full-time and part-time and seasonal Parks and Recreation professionals, as well as the many volunteers who help make Keene parks and programs possible. Congratulations, and thank you for the programming that you're putting on this summer.
Thank you.
Yeah. Signed.
Would you like them to say?
Yes, please.
Okay, wonderful. In addition to the City of Keene's Community Night that's happening on August 19th, we also have 2 Parks and Recreation Community Nights that are coming up. One was rescheduled from this evening to next Thursday, July 24th. We'll have our Community Night at the Bike Park, where we'll have community organizations partaking in lots of fun giveaways and some really great opportunities for people to use the BMX bikes that have been donated and just ride the park. Have a really great time. And then we also have one at the skate park on July 31st. So that will be another opportunity for the community to come together and really realize the wonderful amenities that we have within the City of Keene. None of it would be possible without the professional and seasonal staff that we have. So I just wanted to give a public shout out to everybody that worked so hard to make the programs and the spaces accessible and available to all of our community.
Well deserved. Thanks for your
Thank you.
leadership. Okay. Now I'd like to move to our nominations portion of the meeting and ask the clerk to read into the record.
Yes, we have a nomination from the mayor for the Airport Development and Marketing Committee and the Heritage Commission. And to the Airport Development and Marketing Committee, we have Julie Scholzil being nominated to serve as a regular member for a term to expire December 31, 2025. To the Heritage Commission, we have Kathy Halverson and Jill Beauchelon, both serving in alternate positions for terms to expire December 31, 2026.
And we'll refer these nominations to the next meeting. Moving on. We have some other nominations that are on second reading, and we'll get a vote this evening.
Yes, for tonight, we have confirmations to the Library Board of Trustees and the Energy and Climate Committee. And to the Library Board, we have a Holly Seiler with a term to expire December 30th, 2028, and Pam Russell Slack, also reappointed for a term to expire June 30th, 2028. And to the Energy and Climate Committee, we have Catherine Koenig serving as an alternate with a term to expire December 31, 2026.
I'd like to ask for a motion from Councilor
Ready.
Greenwald.
Move to confirm the nominations.
Second.
Motion moved by Councilor Greenwald and seconded by Councilor Bosley. Any comments, questions on the nominations? Would the clerk please call the roll?
Counselor Bosley?
Yes.
Counselor Tobin?
Yes.
Counselor Remy?
Yes.
Counselor Filio?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Haas?
Yes.
Counselor Jones?
Yes.
Counselor Madison?
Yes.
Counselor Roberts?
Yes.
Counselor Favelis?
Yes.
Counselor Lake?
Yes.
Counselor Chadbourne?
Yes.
Counselor Powers?
Yes.
Counselor Greenwald?
Yes.
Moving on to Section C, Communications. We have one communication this evening.
Yes, we have a communication from Ann Farrington on behalf of the Keene City Republicans, and they have submitted a letter along with a petition containing 496 signatures, and that petition is in support of equal respect for all residents.
And we'll accept, I'd like to accept this as informational. I've spoken with the letter writer here, Ms. Farrington. This is commented on in the PLD minutes. It was submitted at that time to the PLD committee at their meeting on July 9th, and that is exactly what she expected us to be doing this evening with the letter. So this also is going to be referred, as will everything from the minutes of the July 9th meeting, and to the Human Rights Committee. We'll deal with that in a later point in the meeting. Good. Moving on to council committee reports.
And if no one objects, we could take the next 4 items together.
That's right.
Yes, okay. So we have 4 informational reports that came out of the Municipal Services, Facilities, and Infrastructure Committee meeting in June. The first relates to withdrawal of a proposal to add necessary infrastructure to accommodate banners across Main Street. The second was a report related to Goose Pond Spillway Bridge proposal. Next was a presentation relative to the Martel Court force main evaluation. And finally, there was a verbal update on the downtown infrastructure project.
And if counselors have questions and want to discuss any one of those 4 items, but otherwise, these are all informational and will be filed as such. All good? Moving right along.
And next, we have a Planning Licenses and Development Committee report. This is related to the Bubba Street Noodle and Bar and a request to serve alcohol at their sidewalk cafe. And on a vote of 5-0, the Planning Licenses and Development Committee recommends that Bubba Street Noodle and Bar be granted permission to serve alcoholic beverages in connection with their sidewalk cafe license, subject to the customary licensing requirements of the City Council, compliance with requirements of sections 461191 through 461196 of the City Code, and compliance with any requirements of the New Hampshire Liquor Commission. This license will expire on March 1, 2026.
I'd like to recognize Counselor Bosley for a motion.
Move to carry out the intent of the committee report.
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Jones. Counselor Bosley for the committee.
Thank you. So this site has had a sidewalk cafe. That is not new. What is new is that there has been a change of ownership of the restaurant, and anytime there's a change of ownership, they need to come before our body to get authorization to be able to serve alcohol. So that was the request, and we had a unanimous vote to allow that to move forward.
This is their first license. Any comments from the committee or from the council? So, seeing none, see a sign of hands of all those in favor. Motion carries unanimously. On public relations note, the Bubba Street Noodle and Bar will have their official ribbon cutting tomorrow at 11, and their grand opening tomorrow at 11:30. And any counselor that wishes to show up for either of those is welcome to participate. Okay.
But next, we have another Planning Licenses and Development Committee report.
I'm sorry, Counselor Remy.
Sorry, I have a standing conflict with this organization as the vice president of the board, so I just wanted to,
The Bubba Street.
no,
So
the next one.
come-
Yeah, Bubba Street,
Yes,
yeah,
we're at the Let It Shine
Alright.
license. Okay.
So Counselor Remy is asking to be recused from voting and commenting on this item. Are there any objections to his recusal? Seeing none, it is so granted.
Very good. So this is the Let It Shine request for a license to use city property for the 2025 Pumpkin Festival. And on a vote of 5-0, the Planning Licenses and Development Committee recommends a license be granted to Let It Shine, Inc. to use downtown city rights-of-way on Saturday, October 18th, 2025, to hold the Keene Pumpkin Festival, subject to the following provisions. This license is granted based upon the event scope presented to city staff during protocol meetings held to date. Changes or additions to the license may require that an amended license be issued by the city council, and no changes to this license or the associated protocol documents will be accepted after September 1, 2025. The petitioner agrees to absorb the cost of any city services over and above the amount of city funding allocated in the FY26 community events budget, and agrees to remit said payment within 30 days of the date of invoicing. Licensee shall furnish a certificate of liability insurance in the amount of $1 million, naming the city of Keene as an additional insured. Licensee shall sign a standard revocable license and indemnification agreement and associated protocol documents. That the footprint and layout for the event shall encumber the traveled portions of Central Square, Main Street, both sides from Central Square to Emerald Street and Eagle Court, and a portion of Railroad Street. Road closures may include any portions of other streets needed to facilitate detour routes. The full extent of road closures and detour routes shall be agreed upon with city staff and will include any closures necessary to facilitate safety during pre-event setup and post-event cleanup activities. That the petitioner is permitted to use the northbound inside lane of Main Street for pumpkin drop-off by area schools on Friday, October 17th, 2025. That the actual event will be held from 2 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., with the times for setup and cleanup to be established with city staff. Licensee shall submit signed letters of permission from any property owners for the use of their property. That free parking be granted under the provisions of the free parking policy for city parking spaces needed for logistical purposes beginning Thursday, October 16th, 2025 at 6 a.m. and extending through Monday, October 20th, 2025, and spaces within the event footprint on the day of the event. And this license is granted subject to obtainment of any necessary licenses or permits and compliance with all laws and compliance with any recommendations of city staff.
Any comments? I'm sorry, we need a motion.
Yes, thank you.
Counselor Bosley,
Move to carry out the intent of the committee report.
Second.
seconded by Counselor Jones. Counselor Bosley for the committee.
Thank you. PLD loves a long motion. There's a lot that was said in there. But basically, the synopsis is, this is an annual request by the Let It Shine Board to hold our Pumpkin Festival again. They're going to mimic the same footprint as last year. They're gonna have a couple of tweaks with some additional things for children to be doing, but other than that, it's a pretty standard, no pumpkin counting, family-friendly event, and the committee was in full support.
Thank you. Any counselors wishing to comment? This is a great event. Glad that the organization is still bringing this forward and taking leadership on it. Yep. Can we see a show of hands? All those in favor of this carrying out the intent? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. With one recusal. Moving along.
Ready? And next, we have a Planning Licenses and Development Committee report relative to a request from Keene Pride for Sanctuary City for the LGBTQ community. And on a vote of 5-0, the Planning Licenses and Development Committee recommends accepting Keene Pride's request to designate Keene as a sanctuary city for the LGBTQIA+ community as informational. And further, on a vote of 5-0, the Planning Licenses and Development Committee recommends directing the Human Rights Committee to work with the concerned parties to draft a statement recognizing the LGBTQIA+ community and assuring dignity and respect for all persons and all communities in the city of Keene.
Recognize Counselor Bosley for a motion.
Move to carry out the intent of both committee reports.
Second. And second.
Thank you. So what I would like to say about this is that I hope you all took the opportunity to, there was a lot of counselors present, but the folks that weren't, to review the video from that committee meeting. It was a very powerful meeting, and I think we heard a lot of testimony, and I really give the public credit here because it was very healthy, respectful conversation. And I think at the end of the day, the committee did quick work because we've been talking about this for a while, reaching out to our Human Rights Committee to ask them to really take this on as a project and work with all the members of the community that were sitting before us that night and come up with a statement that the council can consider that will be an inclusive, welcoming statement.
Thank you. Counselor Filio.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yeah, I attended the meeting that night. I didn't speak because I wasn't sure how many counselors were behind me, and I didn't want to run into the quorum issue. So I sat quietly. So I get some general comments and notes that I took from the meeting and after the meeting. First of all, kudos to the PLD committee and Councilor Bosley for chairing a well-done committee meeting. That could have gone sideways in a hurry, and you did a phenomenal job. To everybody on PLD, nice job. And to the mayor, your comments were well-received and powerful that night, and I applaud you for the words that you said in the beginning of that meeting. Some general notes that I took at the night and since then. One of the issues, and I do applaud it going to the Human Rights Committee also. I would have hoped we could have done something here, but being what it is going to Human Rights. And one of the reasons that's going there is because it's the word sanctuary. And I find it disappointing that the word sanctuary has been weaponized by our federal and state government. Where any community in New Hampshire, if you use the word sanctuary on anything, you're going to be a target. And that's disappointing because the definition of sanctuary is a place of refuge and safety. And it's also called by the Bible a holy place where God is present. So where our federal and state government has come up with the word sanctuary as somehow being evil is quite honestly disgusting. But it is what it is. That's today's politics. A few weeks ago, many of us were across the street at Lieutenant Cooper's funeral. And I couldn't help but notice when we were going up the stairs, right above me as we went into the room was called the sanctuary. That's a sanctuary. We saw an emotional service, wasn't political, it was a sanctuary. That's a sanctuary. Keene Pride removed the word sanctuary. It's disappointing, but I understand because once again, it's a weaponized word. The letter wasn't weaponized, the word's weaponized, where the feds of the state will come after you for using that word. the letter that they finalized, removing the word sanctuary, they're not asking for any special treatment at all. They're not asking for any laws to be changed. They're not asking the city council to ignore any laws. All they were simply asking was that we acknowledge that the LGBT community is safe and welcome. Those suggesting that somehow the city would be unfair to other groups is quite honestly laughable and ridiculous. Crime against the LGBT community is up 23% nationally, hence the reason that they wrote this letter. We heard at the meeting that night some people don't feel safe. I heard people from the opposing point of view says, oh, why wouldn't they feel safe? Well, if you're not part of that community, then you don't know. You know, I guess if you're a white, straight person, you don't know. But if you're not, then maybe you know. We represent everybody. We have to listen to those that are marginalized. And they're being unfairly targeted simply because of their sexual orientation. The silence on our part from now on in is not an option. We represent everybody, especially those disenfranchised and threatened, and they are threatened. Disappointingly, and we got it here tonight, our local Republican group has submitted a petition against Keene Pride's letter, asking for them just basically to be safe, recognized, and not threatened. Once again, not asking for any laws to be changed, just asking that is recognized that 23% increase on violence against LGBT community across the country is prevalent. It's disappointing because this is not a Republican or Democrat issue. You know, somehow now Republican Democrats getting thrown in. If you're LGBTQ, whether you're Republican, an independent, or a Democrat, it's irrelevant. They're getting harassed. Nobody goes up to them and asks what political party they're from. They're just getting harassed and assaulted because of their sexual orientation, not because of their political party. So this is not about Republican versus Democrat. This is about human rights. It's about the unfair targeting of human beings, and including here in Keene, that we should not tolerate. And quite honestly, when it comes back to the Human Rights Committee, it comes back to this council, I will be the first one to put my name on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Filio. And thanks for your comments about the meeting. I think, Councilor Bosley, thank you for chairing what was a long meeting.
Excellent job.
And was not contentious and was respectful, and I think that was to the decorum that was maintained by the chair and by the committee members. And thanks to the committee members for sitting through and patiently and then considering the feedback that you were getting from the public. I think that was well respected by the public. So I think we're in a good place for the moment. We are putting the Human Rights Committee in an interesting, awkward, potentially, position to have to come back with a statement that we expect 24,000 people in the city of Keene to agree with. Maybe they can do it. They're a well-briefed committee on matters of human rights and execute a lot of programs for the city, do a lot of good for us. We're asking them to do something and bring a motion back to the committee, which is not often what's done, but is why we've got 20 commissions to help the city deal with matters that take some expertise, and hopefully they execute the job successfully. Okay. We need to vote on the committee report. Seeing no further comments. Counselor Jones. All those in favor? All those in favor? Raise your hand. It's a unanimous acceptance of the report. Thank you.
And next, we have Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee. And the first report is related to BCM Environmental Land Law, request for city contribution to Monadnock Conservancy for drainage replacement at 0 Ashwheelet Street. And on a vote of 5-0, the Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee recommends that the city manager be authorized to do all things necessary to negotiate and execute an agreement with JRR Properties LLC and the Monadnock Conservancy for the development and donation of parcel number 567001, Lot 2. As part of that agreement, the city will reimburse the Monadnock Conservancy for the replacement of the city's existing drainage infrastructure with a combination of open drainage swale and the new stormwater pipes. in the amount of $234,845, with funding coming from the Stormwater Resiliency Program.
I'd like to recognize Counselor Powers for a motion.
Thank you, Your Honor. Move to carry out the intent of the committee report.
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Remy. Counselor Powers for the committee.
Thank you, Your Honor. This has been a long-running project coming to fruition, actually under construction right now for the building sections and working towards the piece of land that's going to be donated back to the city. Members of their committee and their representative on the environmental side was with us last week to really finalize the details. What we also got to remember is that in our CIP, there was a project projected out that would replace the piping that goes down through that area anyways. This moves it along a little faster and changes the concept a little bit, which includes a swale where it'll collect some of the water. It can also work as a retention area, but it'll channel some of the surface water that's running off various spaces across grass. I mean, it just presents itself as a very nice opportunity on this piece of land when it's all said and done. So the bottom line is that we have money in our CIP, not quite enough. You know, we're faced the typical escalation of everyday life here. That's increased a little more, but we voted to approve the expenditure of $234,845 for the project, and for the manager to also, on behalf of the city, accept this donation. Anytime you want to take a look, it's under construction, it's moving pretty fast, so I think by the fall, we'll see the fruition of this particular project. A lot of work getting prepared and getting into this position by Public Works. Kudos to those folks for being able to do that. And it's going on at the same time that West Street seems to have a lot of public things going on. So we're gonna have some nice pipes on West Street in the near future. Please approve this.
Further comments from the council? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
And next, we have another Finance Organization and Personnel Committee report, and this has to do with acceptance of the Youthwell New Hampshire Spring Grant for Youth Services. And on a vote of 5-0, the Finance Organization and Personnel Committee recommends that the city manager be authorized to do all things necessary to accept and expend funds provided by Youthwell New Hampshire for youth services programs.
Counselor Powers for a motion.
Thank you, Your Honor. Move to carry out the intent of the committee report.
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Remy. Counselor Powers.
Thanks, Your Honor. Youth Services Manager joined us to explain this particular grant. It's a New Hampshire nonprofit organization, and they work principally to work towards the improvement in the lives of New Hampshire youth. It gives us an opportunity to be able to present a number of programs at the youth level that will help them work through issues that they may be facing as they grow up, they go through the school system. Just a great opportunity to work, once again, with good programs for youth ages 12 to 18. So we unanimously approve this at FOP and ask the council to do the same. Thank you.
Comments, questions from councilors? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
And next, we have a Finance Organization and Personnel Committee report relative to the acceptance of donation of an AED device. And on a vote of 5-0, the Finance Organization and Personnel Committee recommends that the city manager be authorized to do all things necessary to accept a donation of an AED from Zoll Medical and outdoor AED enclosure from Dartmouth Health's Cheshire Medical Center and AED team.
Counselor Powers for a motion again.
Thank you, Your Honor. Move to carry out the intent of the committee report.
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Remy. Counselor Powers.
Thank you, Your Honor. Chief Martin from the fire department joined us and explained a lot of the intricacies of how this program has come to fruition and how we lead the state and maybe even the nation on our ability to respond and save lives. But one of the other elements of saving lives when somebody has a heart attack is rapid intervention And if there aren't responders around, an AED makes a big difference. Survival rate's around 16% nationally. And we've done a great job to do that and even better over the course of last year. And the Keene Fire Department has been recognized by the state and the Dartmouth Health Centers for that work. And one of the ways they're going to reward us for our good work is to get another AED out there in the public. And the requirement for this award to the city is that it be in a public place, obviously, but it be accessible. So after a pretty good review of where it would be likely to be used and accessible and will always be charged up, is that we would do it in Railroad Square. There's a city-owned building there that has power. You know, it'll be well-marked. It'll be accessible to everybody to use. And once it's opened up, it sends a message to 911, and then they will say where it's located, so somebody will be coming. But the AED is the most important part to get started. And every one of you, if you haven't, just take the course. It's really quick. It's very easy to use, and one of us may need it someday. So unanimously approved by the FOP, ask the city council to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Any further comments? Seeing none, Chief, thanks for bringing that forward, and I didn't say thank you for the drill that you went through in response to the water outage. I'm glad you didn't have emergency calls, but it was a drill for you, no doubt. So thanks for your response. All right, vote on this motion, the AED. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. And one more time, Counselor Powers for a motion. Not yet.
Not
You gotta
yet,
read
not
it.
yet. We have a Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee report relative to the skate park fence transfer of funds. And on a vote of 5-0, the Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee recommends accepting the withdrawal of this item.
Now, Counselor Powers.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move to carry out the intent of the committee report.
Second.
Second by Counselor Remy. Counselor Powers.
We were informed just before the meeting started that staff is going to withdraw this because they've got another solution to that particular problem, so no need for us to try to move money around. Ask that you approve the withdrawal.
Okay, seeing no comments. All those in favor? Moving on to the city manager's report.
Yeah, thank you. So in late June, so just last month, we went out to bid with Swansea and Marlboro for the procurement of our community power program. And Direct Energy, the current supplier, was again the low bidder and has been awarded a new 24-month contract, which begins in December of 2025. The contract will provide stable pricing and greater cost certainty for our residents. Keene's default product will increase its renewable energy content from 35% to 50%, moving us closer to our goal of 100% renewable energy by 2030. 3 product options will continue to be offered, ranging from the state minimum all the way to 100% renewable, and residents can change or opt out or in at any time. We plan to more publicly announce new pricing in the fall to avoid confusion with the current rates, which will remain in effect until November. We were, however, able to get a rate close to the Eversource rate going into effect in August, and one considerably lower than the recently announced Community Power Coalition rate for August through January of 26. So Eversource is at 11.196 for August 1st, and we locked in at 11.1 for that same amount of renewable energy. And that is through December of 2025, and then in December of 2025, we locked in for 11.22, so a very small change. The Community Power Coalition locked in at 13 cents, so 13.419. So again, the energy market is not stable right now, and we're seeing a lot of changes, and so I feel pretty good about locking in at this rate for the 2 years. But we will share that information a lot wider and more broadly when we get closer to that time of implementation, and then we'll also begin the outreach process that starts right before that change. I also wanted to let you know, as part of this year's budget, funds were allocated for the Keene Fire Department to engage in a formal strategic planning process. This initiative will result in a 3 to 5 year strategic plan to guide the department's future direction, priorities, and resources. And the reason I'm highlighting that right now is that we've been talking a lot about staffing and what does the future look like in terms of ambulance and fire service. And so this is a perfect time for the fire chief to take on this initiative. And he has retained Emergency Services Consulting International to lead the effort. The planning process will include meaningful stakeholder engagement, both internal and external, to ensure a broad range of perspectives are considered, and the department will share more information as they kick off this project. And then the mayor did talk about last week, the water main break, but I want to give you just a little bit more information about that. So on Friday afternoon, the city received the first of 2 required bacteria test results from the lab, and a second round of samples was promptly collected and analyzed, and by 4:30 p.m. on Saturday, the lab confirmed that the second set of results was also clean, so no bacteria. At that time, the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Service authorized lifting of the precautionary boil order. Although the water was deemed safe to drink as of Saturday afternoon, New Hampshire DES regulations require that municipalities notify all customers via a formal public notice published in a local newspaper for 3 consecutive issues. As a result, some residents may have seen the notice beginning on Monday after the order had been lifted, which understandably may have caused confusion. The state is far behind, I think, in terms of how to communicate these sorts of things, and so it was required for us to put that in the paper. It did cause confusion. But please rest assured that the water is safe, and the newspaper notice was simply a compliance measure required by the state. Now, just some statistics. During this event, the system lost approximately just over 1 million gallons of water, and the immediate response cost was just over $22,000 in labor, material, and equipment and repair parts. Although a total of 162 hours of staff time were expended responding to the break, not counting the Keene Fire Department time. The final restoration of the roadway, sidewalk, and greenbelt will require contractor support, so we are not able to take that on ourselves, and so there's an estimated cost of approximately between $12,000 and $15,000 for that restoration work. Longer term, we will be evaluating options for either rehabilitating or replacing the crosstown main, and I expect that this will be brought forward in the fiscal 27-33 to fiscal 33 CIP, which the departments are working on right now. So this is the year where we do the full update of the CIP. So they are updating all of the projects that will be part of that, and we'll be moving through a process at the end of the summer where there's a review with the council, and then we hold typically our Saturday session before it's adopted, usually around January. We would also like to express the same gratitude the mayor expressed to C&S Wholesale Grocers for their generous donation of bottled water during last week's emergency. And thanks also to the support of city staff from Public Works and the Keene Police Department, because we were able to distribute approximately 1,260 cases of bottled water to affected customers on Friday, July 11th. And just so you know, staff stayed late to do that. They stayed on overtime, handing out water, and it was a very efficient process. If you didn't get a chance to go down there and get water, they really had it working quite well. Cars were lining up.
They would pull up, either a member of the Public Works Department or a member of the Police Department, put the water in their vehicle, and then they drove off. And so we moved a lot of water in a short amount of time, and we got a lot of very positive and supportive comments from the community. And we're deeply appreciative of the residents and the customers for their patience and understanding, because this was difficult not only for homeowners but for our businesses. But I would like to specifically recognize the outstanding efforts of our Public Works Director, they're hiding in the back, who stayed through the evening while his crew was making the repair, and also just the whole Public Works Department, including administration and water and sewer teams, because everybody pitched in. No matter what division they were from, they all pitched in to do this as quickly as possible. And I also want to thank the efforts of our emergency management team. You know, you don't like to bring the emergency management team together, but we've done it enough times here that we're fairly good at it, but we continue to improve our process. And so I want to specifically recognize Deputy City Manager Rebecca Landry, who played a vital role in leading our communication efforts. She worked through the weekend, sending out timely and accurate information to the public across all platforms. The morning of the water main break, we heard from residents concerned because they had missed earlier notifications as they were not active on social media. While we had issued alerts via email, social media, radio, and WMUR, we understand the importance of reaching residents through more direct means. So the city has been working toward full implementation of the state's emergency alert system, which enables municipalities to send critical alerts directly to residents' phones. And that happened, and many people got it, and many people didn't get it, and which began a lot of questions. And while we already had an agreement in place and had identified key city staff to access the system, the process requires a combination of online and in-person training that had not yet been completed. Therefore, the emergency management director for this incident, Court Blomquist, worked directly with the state to issue a boil order alert on our behalf. And that's the one that went out in the morning, the next morning after the break, that some people received. Looking ahead, we anticipate that by September, the city will have fully implemented the system and be able to issue emergency alerts such as boil water notices or weather-related notices. And we've talked about that with the changes in the downtown parking restrictions. Once we are fully operational, we will launch a public outreach campaign to encourage residents to register their phones to receive these important notifications if they haven't already done so. So again, we're just very thankful to the community for their continued support and engagement and encouragement. They were very active. We got a lot of messages of support. And events like this really remind us how departments come together, how the community comes together. But it also reminds us of the importance of investing in our infrastructure, which includes our water and sewer infrastructure. Because when we have a break like this, it impacts people in a variety of ways, and it's very difficult for us to get back on track again, given the 24-hour notice that is required for 2 tests, not 1, because in reality, the Public Works Department had the water back on in a very short amount of time. They were out there, they shut the leak down, and they had the water turned back on, but we had to issue the boil order. And that's what took the longest time in terms of getting up and operational again. So great work by everyone, but always a great learning opportunity for us, and I think that we're moving in the right direction in terms of being able to communicate more directly with the public in the future.
Thank you for that debrief, Manager. And thank you to the staff again. And I do appreciate the work of your deputy manager and city deputy manager, Rebecca Landry, who, the many platforms and many messages that I got over that couple of days, but it elicited a positive response from the community, so thank you. Councilor Greenwald.
Yeah, we left out one thank you, the city manager,
Thanks.
who was there
Team
all
effort.
over the place.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, Councilor Fablese.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just really briefly, because I know we're in a period of Wow Week work going on. One of the pieces of feedback that I got from constituents was that for the first time ever, they had started using the C-Click Fix to report different challenges with the water. And so I want to say that that's a piece of kind of technology that we use, a system that was left out of this, at least this little piece here. And I think that it will be really important moving forward that we have more people using that. It's really hard, in this case, I think it was really obvious to Public Works that there was a challenge with the water system, but in other cases, it's hard for our city staff to solve problems that they don't know exist, and C-Click Fix is a way to get that on the radar.
Yeah, and I think we had over 100 people report the water issue. And our Public Works Director joked to me on site that he was totally counting that as engagement for Wow Week. I know.
While we're there, when does Wow Week begin? I seem to
It has
recall when it
begun.
is.
Yeah,
It's up and
Yeah.
running, and ward by ward, you're ticking them off.
Yep.
Good. Okay, we're moving on to section F of our agenda.
Yes, and the first item under section F is the acceptance of donations. We have a memorandum from our finance director, and the recommendation is that the city accept donations listed in the memorandum.
Recognize Counselor Powers for a motion.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a little bit of an edit to our motion, but I would move to accept, that the city accept donations in the amount of $15,000 and the donation of water from CNS during the recent water main break, and the city manager is authorized to use each donation in the manner specified by the donors.
Second by Counselor Lake. Oh, Counselor Remy. Yeah, Counselor Lake. Thank you.
So Revision Energy donated $5,000 to allow Parks and Recreation to following plans created by engineering to build out new plots of various sizes in adjacent space to reestablish Monadnock View Community Gardens, as that space was previously, the space was sold to Cedar Crest for the installation of a solar farm. An anonymous gift of, $10,000 donated for the benefit of the Keene International Festival to provide welcoming space for our community cultural diversity to be championed. And then CNS donated 24 bags of water to the funeral for Lieutenant Cooper. That was probably one of the hottest days we've had to operate. And then, of course, the activity last week after the water main break. And it's not in here, but you gotta know who the guy passing out water and working hard is right over there. And it's just it's just another testament to the city of Keene and organizations that are well put together to be able to click. It's not easy to roll in with a tractor trailer of water or a pickup truck or just the backseat of your car in cases like this. But when you got the ability and you got a lot of this, it happens. So, thank you.
Counselor Remy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just commenting on that there were a lot of people involved in that on the CNS side, and was glad to do it. I just also wanted to throw out thank you. So JB Hunt was the transportation provider that brought everything over here and made sure that all went smoothly. They sent their manager with to make sure everything went well. And then with like 10 minutes notice, Choice Industrial went over and grabbed water from CNS and dragged it down there right before they ran out. I think they were down to like 5 cases, and then their box truck shows up and offloads. So I think our count was a little higher than the 1,200 you quoted, but yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
Okay. Thanks again, to all those community partners that stepped up. Seeing no comments, all those in favor of accepting these donations? Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to F2.
Yes, and we were going to take two items together. if
Yes,
there's
we
no,
do have two resignations
We do. We
coming
have
up.
2 resignations from boards and commissions. The first is from Luca Paris, resigning from the Airport Development and Marketing Committee, on which he had served since January 2023. The second is from Marilyn Houston, and she is resigning from the Heritage Commission. Marilyn served on that commission since 2020.
Counselor Greenwald for a motion.
Thank you, Your Honor. Move to accept the resignations and communicate thanks for time served.
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Bosley. Any comments? All in favor?
Resign.
We'll accept those resignations and thank them for their service. Okay, moving on to Section G, Boards and Commission Reports.
Yes, and our first our first item under this section is a joint Planning Board and Planning Licenses and Development Committee report relative to Ordinance O 2025-20A relating to setbacks and build-to dimensions. And at their meeting of July 14th, the Planning Board voted unanimously to find Ordinance O 2025-20A consistent with the master plan, and the Planning Licenses and Development Committee voted unanimously to recommend the mayor set a public hearing on Ordinance O 2025-20A.
Thank you. So I can set a public hearing for August 21st. That's our next council meeting, and that hearing will be held at 7 p.m. And thank you to the Planning Board, and thank you again, Councilor Bosley, for the action and bringing this forward in a timely way. Moving on to the next public hearing.
And we have a further joint committee report, and this one relates to Ordinance O 2025-15A relating to amendments to the Land Development Code to encourage housing development in Keene. And at their meeting of July 14th, the Planning Board voted unanimously to find Ordinance O 2025-15A consistent with the master plan, and the Planning Licenses and Development Committee voted unanimously to recommend the mayor set a public hearing on the ordinance.
And that public hearing will be held again on Thursday, August 21st, a few minutes after, 7:05, immediately after the hearing on the previous motion. Okay, we'll move on now to more time reports.
Yes, we have two more time reports, one from the Municipal Services, Facilities, and Infrastructure Committee, and it relates to a communication from Joe Shapiro regarding safety issues associated with on-street parking on Church Street. And the second is a Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee report relative to a request from Councilor Favelis to place a Keno question on the 2025 municipal general ballot.
And more time is granted for both of these items. Okay, moving on to Section I. We have one motion.
And we have a memorandum from the Human Resources Director, and along with that, we have Ordinance O 2025-24 relating to class allocation and performance bonus. And the communication recommends that the council refer Ordinance O 2025-24 to the Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee.
This is the first reading, and we will refer this to Finance, Organization, and Personnel for their next meeting.
And next, we have ordinances for second reading, and this is a Municipal Services, Facilities, and Infrastructure Committee report relative to Ordinance O 2025-22. And on a vote of 4-0, the Municipal Services, Facilities, and Infrastructure Committee recommends the adoption of Ordinance O 2025-22. And you have before you Ordinance O 2025-22, an ordinance relating to prohibited parking areas.
Recognize Councilor Greenwald for a motion.
Move the adoption of ordinance O 2025-22.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Filio. Councilor Greenwald for the
That's
committee.
Filio for the committee.
Councilor.
You were there.
As
Pretty
the-
simple stuff, just to follow up on
Sure.
the new driveway footage ordinance for Washington Street and Court Street. Basically, for all intents and purposes, it increases the space from 5 feet to 10 feet in front of driveways. Pretty simple ordinance, but it wasn't simple getting there. We hope you'll all approve this. Thank you.
Right.
Well-
And thank you again to the Public Works Director for his work on this. Any comments? I think Councilor Filio, you're correct. It's
All
been
good.
worked over for a while. Seeing none, roll call.
Counselor Bosley.
Yes.
Counselor Tobin.
Yes.
Counselor Remy.
Yes.
Counselor Filio.
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Haas?
Yes.
Counselor Jones?
Yes.
Counselor Madison?
Yes.
Counselor Roberts?
Yes.
Counselor Favelis?
Yes.
Counselor Lake?
Yes.
Counselor Chadbourne?
Yes.
Counselor Powers?
Yes.
Counselor Greenwald?
And we have a couple of new resolutions for first reading.
We do. We have a memorandum from the Finance Director, and accompanying that is Resolution R 2025-25, a resolution related to the proposed FY '26, an amendment to the FY '25-26 fiscal year budget, and the memo is requesting that this be referred to the Finance Organization and Personnel Committee.
And that is what we will do, is refer it to Finance, Organization, and Personnel.
And then our final report is from our Public Works Director, and this relates to an amended return of layout for a public right-of-way known as Grove Street, and relating to a deed for land removed from the right-of-way and an easement for public infrastructure. Along with that, we have a petition from the Public Works Director and Resolution R 2025-26 and R 2025-27.
And that will be referred to Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee.
No,
I'm sorry, to the Municipal Services Committee.
we have to do this.
We have a field trip.
I gotta set a hearing.
You went, yep, you went to one page too far.
I'm rushing myself through.
Field trip and dinner.
Okay, and so that public hearing on the land deed issue, that public hearing will be September 4th at 5:30. That's going to require a site visit, so the schedule for that will be 5:30 for the site visit, 6 o'clock back here if folks need a refreshment before the public hearing that'll be held at 7 p.m. Councilor Greenwald.
City Attorney question. This brings back a question. Can you vote on this if you do not attend the site visit?
No.
So therefore, fellow counselors, you want to be there.
Yes, definitely a quorum. Thank you.
Lunch.
Good question.
Now we're here.
Yep. And we do have need for a non-public session. I'd like to ask Councilor Greenwald for a motion.
Move to go into non-public session to discuss land matters pursuant to RSA 91A3 2D, and for consideration of the release of non-public minutes pursuant to RSA 91A:3 2M.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Bosley. All those in favor?
Roll call.
It's a roll call. Thank you.
Counselor Bosley?
Yes.
Counselor Tobin?
Yes.
Counselor Remy?
Yes.
Counselor Filio?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Haas?
Yes.
Counselor
Yes.
Jones? Counselor Madison?
Yes.
Counselor Roberts?
Yes.
Counselor Favelis?
Yes.
Counselor Lake?
Yes.
Counselor Chadbourne?
Yes.
Counselor Powers?
Yes.
Counselor Greenwald?
Yep.
Motion carries unanimously. We are now in non-public session. If folks don't need a break, we'll roll right into it.
We have one more person that has to scoot up. Yeah.